It's your position, right? Your position is
Yeah.
very simple,
Yeah,
that there's no such thing as morality. You can't ground it. You even said that, well, it can be preference based, but even that, I just don't think morals exist at all. So if morals don't exist, why do you act in ways that people would consider to be good or bad?
Okay, I'm going to answer. Sure. Thank you so much. You've been patient. The audience, you guys have been patient. Awesome. I'll answer the question now. I believe that I act this way and other people act this way. That would be called good from your understanding. I think that it's a product of evolution. That essentially we pre-selected certain traits in people that are cohesive to the social group. So essentially, if somebody acted like brutish, was violent, was antisocial, those people are less likely to procreate and be involved in the tribal society to have those genes passed down to survive. Because ultimately, we are just a product of evolution. It's the same reason why we find certain traits attractive, like, muscular men, tall, height, broad shoulders, narrow waist, women with youth and the curvy body. We find those things attractive because they produce good offspring. What also produces good offspring is socially appetizing traits, such as cooperation, kindness, intelligence, and not antisocial behavior. So we've evolved to have these traits, but I think it's ultimately derived in evolution and not in a metaphysical standard. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. So basically, you believe that how we're here is through events that was accidental.
Yeah.
Okay. So if events are accidental, then it has no meaning, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So if things have no meaning, then where does the meaning come from if we say that, well, from your worldview, well, I feel that this is bad, I feel that this is good. Where does this meaning derive from if everything is accidental?
Can I ask a question? What do you mean by meaning, just so I'm clear?
Well, if I punch you in the face, you would think that that's bad. And
I would think it hurts, but I wouldn't think it's morally, I wouldn't think there's a true moral bad about it. I would think it hurts, and I would think you're a mean person, but I wouldn't think that it's morally bad. That would contradict.
So there's meaning within it, meaning that you feel a way about it.
And I would say
meaning there.
That's just my my evolution lying to me. When I think this is morally bad, that's just me.
Wait, so evolution is lying to you now?
So yeah, evolution did not evolve for us to recognize truth necessarily. It evolved for us to reproduce and survive.
Okay, so if that's the case, how do you know that the sentences that you're making right now is logical and correct? If everything is accidental from your worldview, how do you know that? How do you know that you're not in a contradiction currently right now?
Can I are you asking me if I can ground this fundamentally, foundationally?
No. What I'm asking you is it's something very simple. Okay. Since you believe that we're all here through events happening over time that was all accidental, which basically means that there's no purpose for us to be here. But if I punched you in the face, you would feel like, darn, why'd you do that?
Yeah, come on.
You get what I'm saying?
I know. I feel you.
I'm asking you, why do human beings, from your perspective, where did we derive, if we're just all accidental, where did we derive this state of mind for things to be purposeful and things to have meaning? All right, fellas, mission is critical. I was searching my name online and found tons of information that was way too personal. So I thought to myself, who has the ability to leak this type of information? And I found out there's companies called data brokers that profit out of selling your information to marketers, scammers, and even stalkers. You already know I've been through many matrix attacks where people create fake pages of mine by using my data. And the same can happen to you. That's why I'm recommending today's sponsor, Aura. I use Aura to automatically remove my information from these sites and keep them off of these sites. They also do other things like bank fraud, identity theft alerts, and also VPN access. I want you to go ahead and utilize my link below in the description box for a 14-day free trial. At least you'll see if you've been compromised or not. Privacy is key nowadays, and you should know if your information is out there. So again, utilize my link in the description box at aura.com/nofugazi and get 2 weeks free. That's more than enough time to see if your personal data has been exposed.
Like I said, I think that it is evolutionarily beneficial to believe in those things, such as like mnemonics, which is like the evolutionary idea of ideas. Like religion has played an important role.
Okay, so can it be beneficial? So here's the thing. You're saying that, well, you believe that it's beneficial.
Beneficial to survival and reproduction.
Beneficial for survival and reproduction. Can it be beneficial to manipulate people, to lie to people, to grape people, to abort unborn children? Can all of these things be beneficial? And if it is beneficial, does then that make it good from your worldview?
Well, remember, I don't believe in good or bad, so I'm not saying these things are good or bad.
Well, from your worldview, if we peel back the beneficial, then that fits. Like the only reason why people would do things that's beneficial is because it would have like good outcomes that they would prefer.
So you just so you're clear, you're asking me basically like, are there traits that you would consider personally like bad that could be evolutionarily beneficial?
No, what I'm asking you is very simple. Okay. Since it's the case from your worldview that everything is just events that happened over time, that's all accidental, there's no purpose, there's no meaning within this, right? No purpose, no meaning. You said that. I asked you the question, well, then why do human beings act in accordance when things are good and things are bad? You said that, well, I don't really believe in good or bad. I believe like if it's beneficial. Right. Yeah. So then I'm saying that if it can be beneficial to grape someone, to steal from people, totally. To murder. Yeah. Okay. So then if these things are beneficial, then why should we outlaw these things?
So the reason.
And why do we? Why do human beings do this?
Outlaw these things?
Why do we and why should we?
Because those events are sometimes beneficial from a reproductive standpoint. It doesn't mean that it's always beneficial from a societal reproductive standpoint. So we recognize when people are going around doing this stuff, it's actually overall bad. And so people have like made rules and social norms since the beginning of tribal societies. So that's why those things would happen. So I'm totally granting to you that sometimes that these bad things will have a reproductive benefit. But if they go unchecked and they happen too often, that is actually bad for the group. Theft prevalent in a society is bad, as in the sense that it will damage like the cohesion of the society and chances for reproduction.
So then it won't be. Okay, so the benefit means that if it's for reproduction and what else?
Reproduction and like survival.
Okay, so survival and reproduction. Yeah. So that's the only time something can be beneficial.
So no, that's just how I'm using the word beneficial here to describe events. Like when I'm saying beneficial, I mean they're beneficial into the sense that they provide for reproduction or they provide for survival. And that's why we have these feelings of good or bad in society. Or in individuals. Okay,
so we have these feelings. So feelings come from things that are beneficial due to when it benefits our survival and our reproduction.
They can come from that. It's not necessary.
Okay,
there's genetic mutations, right?
Okay, they can come from this, but it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Got it. So then, once again, then my question still stands.
Yeah.
If I just want some type of answer from you, then
of course,
why do we need to do anything that is beneficial, even if it is for survival and reproduction, if it's all accidental and all random?
Why do we need to do it?
Why?
We don't have to do it. We don't have to.
Okay, so from your worldview, you're fine with human existence just going extinct.
I don't think that would be good or bad. I would just think it would be something that happened.
Okay, you think that it'd just be something that happened. Got it. So then also, if we get back to the topic of the debate and we're speaking about morality, which you don't believe in at all, you don't believe that anything is good and you don't believe that anything is bad, you think that everything is, right?
Yeah.
Okay, since everything is, and that's tied to we do things for our benefit for survival and reproduction, then in your worldview, then in your worldview, does might make right?
No, that's a moral claim. I don't think that right exists. So no, I wouldn't say that.
Okay, so you don't even think that right exists. Do you think that correct exists?
Yes.
Okay.
So if right, do you mean like factually true in terms of like propositional knowledge, I think that could exist, but I don't think right as in the sense of like moral right. You know what I mean?
Okay, so moral right just doesn't even exist from your worldview.
Yeah.
Got it. But okay, totally fine, but correct would exist.
Yeah.
Got it.
Theoretically, potentially.
Okay, got it. So if it's the case that if everything reduces down to, well, I'm going to do what is for my survival value and what is for my reproduction value, then I'm going to go head out there and murder, steal, and kill and grape. That would be the correct way of living?
So you're asking me if those actions were the best chance for reproduction and survival, would that be correct?
I'm just asking you, would that be the correct way to live?
What do you mean by correct way to live? Because it feels like to me you're slipping in a moral claim. You're slipping in a moral claim.
Well, I asked you correct. Well, you said that you don't believe in right, you don't believe in wrong.
I believe in propositional knowledge. So ask me a propositional question.
Okay, got it. So by correct, I'm saying that correct would be, okay, so from your world view then, correct would be tied to like 2 + 2 = 4.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Got it. So then, well, no, that's a perfect question for you then. Why can't you answer that?
So wait, then, you're saying like if are you saying that graping people's like math?
No, listen. I'll go ahead and restate the question again. So I'll go ahead and restate the question again, and I'll make it clear.
Yeah.
Everything is just a chain of events, and it's a chain of events that's all accidental. There's no purpose. There's no meaning, right? Human beings, we act in accordance to what can benefit us when it's tied to our reproduction and when it's tied to our survival value, right?
Yes.
Okay. So if it's the case that, this hypothetically speaking, if it's the case that, a bunch of men gathered around, built a nation, and they said, you know what? Might makes correct, because graping, stealing, murder, and all of these things is going to benefit our survival value and our reproduction value. I'm asking you, would that be correct?
Like, would they be correct in their assessment?
Would they be correct in their assessment and their actions? Would it be correct?
So I would not think they're correct in their assessment, because grape, murder, and theft is really bad for societies. Like, and bad in the sense that they're not.
Wait, what? You keep on going back to bad. In your worldview, there is no bad.
No, I said bad as in not cohesive for reproduction or survival. Like,
wait, how are you saying that is not cohesive when it's basically all what benefits people?
That is not evolutionary beneficial. Grape, murder, and theft is not evolutionary beneficial at all.
Wait, how do you know that it's not evolutionary beneficial when everything is all a chain of events that's accidental?
Because those things promote violence, and violence typically short circuits lifespans. So when people are getting killed,
but life is accidental itself. How can you make a claim and say that? Listen, it's very simple. Listen. No, you got yourself in a pickle here.
If people are dying, they're not reproducing or surviving, are they?
Totally fine. If people are dying and they're not reproducing, then from your worldview, then that is not in accordance to evolution.
As evolution now, that would not be in accordance to evolution.
How is it not in accordance to evolution when evolution is a chain of events that's accidental? Like, you're here for no reason. What are you talking about?
I know. I see what you're saying. So you're saying that, are you asking why do these things happen?
I'm not. So
like,
no.
Sorry, are you asking me an explanatory reason? Or
no.
Nope. Okay.
No.
Justification?
Yeah, I'm asking you. Is it correct?
Is it correct within evolution?
Is it correct within, if everything is accidental, everything has no purpose, everything has no meaning? So if a group of men came together, I'm going to rape, steal, murder, and kill, do whatever I want. It's anarchy. Is that correct in their action and in their assessment with evolution if everything is accidental and has no meaning or purpose?
So I'll answer twofold. It is incorrect in the assessment, but it would be correct in like what they do. Because you're right. Their traits and their desires was caused by evolution to do that.
How is it incorrect in their assessment?
Because those genes probably would not survive long. Those sort of societies tend to fall apart. People tend to die young. People tend to not reproduce. So
what's the purpose of genes?
Those genes don't get passed on. Like,
what's the purpose of genes? What's the purpose of passing on genes?
That's what do you mean? Sorry?
What's the purpose of passing on genes?
What's the purpose of passing on genes? There's no purpose to that. That's just what happens.
Okay, so then there's no purpose to it. It's just what happens.
Yeah, but I'm saying factually.
And it happens.
I'm saying factually.
Accidental.
Those genes would not pass on. Those genes would likely die out.
Totally fine. So there's no purpose for it. It's just all accidental.
Those genes would just die out. So that's why I'm saying they'd be wrong in their assessment that would be beneficial for their genes to survive long term. That's why I'm saying they'd be incorrect in the assessment.
If everything is accidental, how can you assess if something is correct?
If everything is, well, that doesn't follow. If things can be accidental and you can still assess if things are correct or not. I mean, again, reason, you can use logic. That's
accidental. How do you know that the reason and the logic that they're using
the
results, the outcomes is correct?
Because what you're saying is basically, can we trust our senses? Because if all of evolution is accidental, how do I know that my senses evolved to be accurate? Right? They could have totally been evolved to be inaccurate, and for all I know, I'm doing something completely different. But I'm imagining I'm debating you. Correct?
Yeah, you're not answering my question. You're just describing. You're just describing like sense data and stuff like this. Real quick, listen. Okay, go ahead.
I'm trying to steel man your position there.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't think that we can have that in foundationalism. No, I don't think that we can know that ultimately.
Okay.
I don't think we'd be able to know that from a true philosophical bedrock.
Okay, so then you don't truly know if we can know if something is correct.
Yeah, no, I don't think you can ground foundationalism. No.
Okay, so then you are in a full logical contradiction. 2 plus 2 in your worldview does not equal 4.
So it does, depending on.
No, it doesn't. Everything is accidental. It does not equal 4.
No. Not math. I mean, like the physical world. Math is.
You have nothing to ground the transcendental categories for. You have nothing to ground it. I asked you to justify. No, you didn't. You didn't ground it. I asked you when I was giving a internal critique in your worldview, and we were speaking about the transcendentals in the beginning of the podcast during this debate. You gave no account and no justification for transcendentals. You said that once again. I said that your argument is circular, just like you said that mine is circular. I said, well, how did everything come into an existence? You said that's just necessary. Well, why is it necessary? Because it's necessary for everything to exist. So therefore, it's circular, right? Okay, got it. I'm asked. So you gave no justification to ground the unchanged. Listen.
You're confusing logic.
No. I'm not confusing.
Hang on, Tyler. Let him land his plane, and then we'll let you respond, man.
You are in a full contradiction now, bro. This is the end of this debate. I'll be honest with you, and I'll explain. So, from your worldview, you just admitted that everything is accidental. Currently, now you've admitted that there's no purpose, there's no meaning. In the beginning of the conversation, you said that I don't believe in good or bad. I think morality doesn't even exist. I said, oh, okay, well, that's a truth claim. You believe in truth? Yeah, I believe in knowledge. Okay. So you're making an epistemic claim, a knowledge claim. You believe in knowledge. You believe in language. You believe in numbers. You believe in all of these things that are unchanging. I asked you if 2 plus 2 always equal 4. You said, yes, it does always equals 4. But you gave no justification on how it equals 4. Always. Then now you just admit, you gave no justification. Now you just admit that everything is accidental. I'm asking you, well, is anything ever correct? You said that, well, no, from my worldview, nothing is really ever. You did, man. Now you're lying. Real quick. I just land my plane real quick. Now you're lying real quick.
Yeah.
I asked you, well, can things ever be correct? You said that, well, no. I can never, we would never truly know from my worldview if something is actually correct. So then I said, well, real quick, that's a contradiction from your earlier statement. So then 2 plus 2 doesn't always equals 4 because it could be incorrect.
Okay, can I land my plane now?
Booyah. That's the end of this debate.
Can I land my plane?
Go ahead, Tyler. Go ahead, Tyler. And look, Tyler, you seem to be a real polite guy. Cooley and I are both fans of blood sport debating.
Yeah, it's blood sport debate.
Let's hear your response, man. Let's hear you.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Okay, so pilot Tyler's coming in. He's flying in for the landing. So this is how I believe the debate went. I believe almost immediately Cooley came to a circular definition of his position of God.
So what? You did too.
Oh, I thought we were letting the pilot land.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tyler. Go ahead, Tyler.
So this pilot's landing. There might be some turbulence, buddy, but it's okay. So God, you define that God is good, and good is God. That is ultimately a circular definition. Now, you're trying to claim that my definitions are circular too, but even if I grant that, that still makes your position illogical. So maybe we're both incorrect in what we're saying, but that doesn't follow that you are therefore justified or correct. Even if you grant that I did, which I don't think I did, we're both just incorrect then. So you're incorrect in your position that you can ground morality in God. When I'm saying things like we can be wrong about our senses, that doesn't mean that there's no such thing as truth claims. It just means that we have the potential to be wrong. And typically with truth claims, I'm talking about claims such as the physical world, not mathematical ones, because that is more about contradictions or things that have to be necessarily true rather than necessarily false. Which I said in the beginning, that logic is necessary to, it's just necessary. It's necessary claims. Where contingent claims have to do claims that are dependent on the physical world, where we have to trust our senses in. All I can see is that can we ultimately have a justification to trust our senses, which we cannot. It is ultimately contingent on that assumption that we can trust our senses. But it does not follow from that, then therefore mathematical claims are true. Because we don't necessarily use our senses for that, we use logic for that. Those are two different tools.
Perfect. Yeah, perfect. So, and that's perfect for stating that back. So it's very simple, right? Since you don't use your senses for math, right? That's what you're claiming. You don't use your senses for logic. That's what you're claiming, right?
Yeah.
So you don't use your physical body. Seeing, touching, tasting, smelling, hearing, your 5 senses. You don't use this physical body.
There's actually 7, but yeah, I know what you mean.
It could be some other ones too, sure.
Yeah.
You don't use these senses, but from your worldview, everything evolved over time and is just an effect of different events.
Yeah.
That is accidental.
Yes, but that doesn't mean math is accidental.
Okay, totally fine. If you can't ground math, logic, reason, and the physical, I'm asking you, Tyler, just like the beginning of the show where you couldn't answer it. Where do you ground it in? Do you ground it in a rock? Do you ground it in some like magic? Where do you ground?
I ground it in a bag of grapes. No,
where do you ground it in?
So I ground logic is just rules that are either necessarily true or necessarily false. It's for contradiction. It's just it's not in the mind, but they exist necessarily. I use the physical world as an example of how you can justify these things.
No. You didn't use the physical just because you are saying that there's utility. I don't think you're understanding my question real quick, Tyler.
Yeah, of course. Sorry.
You're saying that there's utility and like we use logic and reason as a tool. We get utility out of using logic and reason and math. 2 + 2 = 4 because it gives us utility. I'm asking you, just because it gives us utility, you still stated that these transcendental categories are unchanging. It doesn't change, right? What you believe in is everything came from Big Bang Theory dimension.
I didn't say that, but I know what you mean.
Oh, yeah, that's what basically you said. A Big Bang happened there. This is a different dimension. The Big Bang is always happening. One just happened right now.
The theory of time, I said, not that.
Well, that's what that means.
I don't think it's that. But go on.
That's how you described it.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be interrupting you. I'm sorry.
Okay, cool. It's very simple, man. You're in a contradiction. I'm going to say it again clearly, and then we're going to get to the chats. Yeah, then we're going to get to the chats as well, and we can end it with an opening statement. You know what? Let's do that now, actually. Okay. Let's do closing statements, because then I can wrap this up with closing statements, and then also we'll get to the chats.
Okay. Do you want to start? I started with the opening statements.
Right.
Yeah, I'll start with the closing. Totally fine. Yeah, so, all right, chat. Well, this was a good spirited debate. I thank Tyler for coming out and joining me on this debate tonight. In the beginning, what you witnessed is, Tyler attacking my position and saying that, well, how do you ground morality? I said that, well, I ground it in God, and God is good. God sets the standard for good. And the reason why it's grounded in God is because it's unchanging. God is divine. God is omniscient. God is unchanging. So that's how it's grounded. It's unmovable. He says that, well, morality doesn't exist at all. Okay, well, it just doesn't exist. It's all feelings based. Everything is feelings based. So then he also says that he believes in evolution theory. And he's making claims that, well, everything, all of existence is just a chain of random events that's accidental. He says that it has no purpose, it has no meaning. I asked him, well, can something be correct? He says that, well, nothing can be correct because it's all accidental. So then from his worldview, if nothing can be correct, then how can he also make a claim that, well, morality doesn't exist? If nothing is correct from his worldview, how would he even know? From his worldview, how does he even know that he's making coherent sentences right now? From his worldview, how does he truly know 2 + 2 = 4, where he claims that it always equals 4? Well, from evolution theory, things are always changing and evolving over time, but he's appealing to something that never changes. He says that math never changes. He says that logic and reason, these things do not change. Knowledge does not change. Information, can you find information in a banana? No, you can't find information in a banana. These type of things that is metaphysical is not in the physical realm he appeals to. Okay, well, that's a contradiction in itself if you believe that everything came from the physical. How can you believe in the non-physical? Contradiction there. Second contradiction. Oh, I believe that 2 + 2 always equals 2. Oh, the next thing he says, well, nothing's never correct. Everything's always accidental. Well, then from your worldview, 2 + 2 doesn't always equal 2. So from this debate, I would say that Tyler fully lost. He didn't disprove how morality isn't grounded in God. He had the affirmative position. He made no arguments to back up his affirmative position because he could be incorrect. There's no correctness within his worldview. Zero correctness at all. Nothing is correct. Matter of fact, he's probably not even a white man in his worldview. He probably think he black. He thinks that he's 50 Cent. Not only that, he also believes that an apple can change to an orange from his worldview, because it isn't always correct that the orange is an orange. It's accidental and things evolve over time. So it can accidentally be that an orange can change to an apple. His worldview is nonsensical, and he made no justifications for logic, reason, or any of these transcendental categories at all. End of the debate. The floor is yours, Tyler.
All right. Well, first of all, God bless you, Cooley, as always. So yeah, I'll just, Cooley said a lot. I'll leave it at that. The audience watched the debate. You guys can drive what you believe came from that. Obviously, I have my positions. Cooley has his. We were mostly, I think, just restating what we think happened. So I'll leave you with like one more affirmative case that I think shows that you cannot ground morality from God, and then I will leave it at that. So Cooley's ultimate position is that God's nature is good, and good is God. Therefore, basically, things are good. Good exists because of that. The issue with that argument, though, ultimately, is that there's two main possibilities from this. Basically, is God's nature good in virtue of God having it, which would just be another semblance of divine command theory, and it ultimately becomes arbitrary, because all you mean by good, then, is essentially God's will, or God's command, right? And that makes it arbitrary, and it could be anything. And the reason why I brought the phonic term between world A and world B is because that if that's the true position to take of divine command, and you guys can look this up, of course, I always encourage you to do your own research, it's arbitrariness. And you're adding an extra metaphysical tact onto it, almost a metaphysical decoration to say, well, then, therefore, there's moral facts. Or you can take the alternative, which Cooley kind of did at the end, where he said that, well, in God's nature, he wouldn't allow for things like rape, murder, and theft. But what you're recognizing there is there's actually things independent of God that are bad. That rape, murder, and theft would be bad regardless of God or not. And God is just recognizing them. And that is, I believe, Cooley's ultimate position. And if that's the case, you actually don't need God for morality. Now, I know Cooley said that, well, you can't have anything without God, and you can't actually have an evil creator. That's somehow logically impossible, which he did not demonstrate. And I asked him multiple times. But, in fact, you can conceive of that, and it would not follow. Perhaps maybe Cooley and I have a bigger disagreement on if God exists or not, and maybe one day him and I can have a chat about that, if God's real or not at all, because I think that would be an interesting conversation too. He seems like a very nice and smart guy. I had a great time speaking with Cooley, with Dane. I had a great time moderating, and the audience. I wasn't reading the chats. Even if you were hard on me, I'm sure you guys are all really cool, and I'm glad you're supporting debate, and I had a great time.
So if you like that clip and you want to watch more, click right here. But if you want to watch the full episode, click right here.